That's nice. Where's that from?
Malaga. The cameras are rolling. We're here to talk about grief again.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Hopefully one day you'll turn this on and I'll say, hey, how are you? And she'll say, I'm amazing. I'm cured of all grief symptoms and I'm flying through the sky.
That's so random because that's never going to happen.
No.
Weird thing to say.
Rough.
But thing is, yeah, I'm all right. What about you?
Oh, wow, you asked me this time.
Do I never ask?
She never asked me how I am. In real life, she does. But on here, I always start the podcast by going, hi, how are you? And you go, yeah, blah, 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 blah.
That is so funny.
And then I go, yeah, so this week I... She was a really good sister most of the time.
What the fuck? There was never a question of when I was a good sister.
Your sister.
So how are you?
Oh, amazing. No, I'm okay. How am I? I don't know. I actually don't know how I am.
I'm not sure either. That's why I go, yeah, I'm all right. I
Yeah.
don't know. Stupid question. Next.
It's probably quite good to know how you're feeling, but I do feel like in grief, like sometimes you actually just don't know how you feel because it's so up and down.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know how I am. But maybe that's why journaling exists.
Maybe, but
That's
also
fine.
it's just like, I'm here.
I'm alive.
I'm alive and I'm here.
Yeah. I'm alive, but I'm dead.
That's the thing. Instead of saying like, oh, how are you? Maybe we should be like, oh, you're alive.
Yeah. Oh, you're alive.
Oh, you're alive. Good
Thank
sign.
God. Must be doing good.
Not,
Anyway,
not.
that's
true.
not true. Something really embarrassing happened to me.
What happened?
I don't even know if I've told you this. First of all, I'm going to say I love meeting y'all out in the wild most of the time. I have loved every one of you that I've met.
Bar one.
But no. Sometimes it is quite triggering
Yeah.
to be in a rave or in a party and someone's like, this is what happened on this date and this is how it happened. But I understand it's hard because like when you hear people talking like us, like we overshare grief to like normalize it and we're like really vocal about our experiences. And I would love to talk about everyone's like grief experiences, but it's like really as a time and a place.
We've always said that.
Yeah.
In grief, there's always a time and a place.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's because they think like, oh, this is the only time that I'll meet you, so I'll just tell you.
Yeah.
But like, that doesn't make it appropriate. And everyone knows that there's a time and a place for grief chat.
Mm-hmm. But to be honest, it doesn't make me angry when other grievers do it. Obviously, it just takes me a bit back because I'm obviously like in a party, like not trying to think about death. But it really makes me angry when non-grievers do it.
Yeah,
when they
different.
like it's a whole different. But oh my god, I've never felt rage like it when like randomers would come up to me after Mum died when I'd like be out, and they'd be like, oh my god, like how did it happen? Or like, oh my god, I'm so sorry about your mum. Like, can't believe it. Like, I heard about your mum, and I was be like really young and just be like, I can't believe you really think that this is an appropriate time to speak about that. I was like, be in a club.
Yeah. I found that a lot at school.
Yeah.
Which was really hard because it's like, I didn't even choose to be here at this place right now.
No.
And like, now I have to deal with the fact that you would like to know how she died. And like, I'm just trying to do my schoolwork.
Yeah. And that's hard enough.
Exactly. And it's just like, you know when there's a right time to ask things like that.
And if you think, oh, maybe this isn't the right time, you're probably right.
Isn't.
Yeah.
And like, the thing is like, we all have part of the human condition, nosiness. We all want to have a little nosy and know what's going on and have the tea and blah, 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 blah. But when you're a non-griever, it is your responsibility to not give in to that nosiness.
You'll find out if you should find out.
Exactly.
And also, like, I remember, it's funny, I thought when we started this podcast, I was convinced that the only people who would listen would be nosy people from school who wanted to know what happened.
Yeah.
Because, not gonna lie, like, I love knowing details now. I would never ask, but like, if I see something online, I love to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And I just thought our podcast listeners were just going to consist of like the mean girls from school, like wanting to know the juicy, gory details.
Yeah, it just hasn't turned out like that at all.
No. Because
so
you
nice.
guys are the best.
Yeah, so
But
good.
I didn't even tell you the story.
Oh, yeah.
It does tie in, I promise. Stay with me. So I was out in Manchester and someone came up to me and was like, oh, I know you from somewhere, but I don't know where. And when they say that, I never say, I have a podcast, because that makes me want to die.
Because what if they're like, no, it's not that.
Yeah, because that happened to me as well.
Yeah, that's horrible.
My hairdresser.
I never say,
like, yeah,
I'm like, oh, really? Why? Do I follow you or something?
Imagine. Anyway, I didn't say anything, but the girls I was with were like, yeah, she has TikTok. And then she was like, oh, what is it on TikTok? Because obviously, like, she recognises me, but she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
And I went, I do this on TikTok.
What? Why? Why did you say? Why did you say that?
And the worst thing is, I didn't say that. I did that. The worst thing is that she literally looked at me like, and then walked off.
What? Really?
Yeah, walked off. So I was like, oh fuck. And then obviously, like, she wasn't upset, but she was just kind of like, I don't know who this person is, and I'm really freaked out because, like,
I don't blame her.
And I'm freaked out. Everyone else is like,
because everyone knows why.
Yeah, because I'm talking about my dead mum on TikTok, but now I'm just doing a silly dance. And anyway, I'm really sorry if you still follow us, or, you know, maybe you didn't even follow us, because I was thinking, if that was me, I was her, and that happened, and then I went home and went on my phone, and I found, oh, she's the girl that talks about death. Like, I just look like a freak. I just really don't look well.
You're not?
I'm not. But anyway, I didn't mean to. I hope that you didn't feel it awkward. I'm sorry for my cackling friends. I'm sorry for my dance, and I'm sorry for everything. And I'm sorry I didn't just say, oh, I have a grief podcast, or, oh, I don't know. I've been told I look like Megan Fox. Maybe you think I'm Megan Fox.
Oh, it's because I'm in that hit movie. I'm Megan Fox.
Transformers.
I'm literally Megan Fox. That's why. That's why you know
God.
me. That is so funny. Imagine if you said that to someone.
That would have been better than me doing that.
That is crazy. That is crazy behaviour. But a similar thing happened to me, actually.
Oh, no.
I was at work at my job before this one, and it was retail.
Oh, no.
And someone came in, and they were like, I recognise you from somewhere, but I don't know what it is. Same thing. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, okay, do I follow you? Do we follow each other? Did we go to uni together? Blah, blah, blah. What happened? And then she was like, oh, you have a podcast about death. Death. Your brother. Wait, no. Who's dead? Someone's dead. Someone's dead, right? Who's dead? Who's dead? And I was like that. And I was like, yeah, you could say that. Like, yeah, someone is dead. You could say that. And I was like, I obviously didn't tell her, but I was like,
which who do you want? Which name?
This one, then this one, then this one. It was just insane.
That is so funny.
It was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, it also happened to me. Another one. This is mad. We've got
quite a few.
Quite a few. Someone came up to me and was like, oh, this girl has a TikTok. It's so good. Like, she's been really nice. She's like, so funny. She talks about her dead mum. And I was like, yeah, I talk about that. And then she was like, oh, tell them the story of that story. And I was like,
dance, monkey, dance.
Yeah, I was like, and it was the story of when my boyfriend messaged me saying, how did your mum die, Amy?
Oh my God.
So I recited the story in the smoking area because I was pressured to. Obviously, that's not funny out of context. Just a group of strangers having a drink and a nice time who don't know who I am. Suddenly, I'm like, yeah, my mum died. And then, like, my boyfriend asked how?
And it's like the room goes mild.
Yeah, everyone was like, oh, I don't know what to be like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and I've got to go. Anyway, but yeah, really nice to see you.
Gotta go!
Gotta go! And walked off, and I went and sat on the toilet, and I was like, I need to go home. Like, that's just sent me west.
That is horrible.
And now, I will never, obviously, recite a story. But I was just like, that's so not funny.
That is, like, so horrible.
Yeah, but she obviously didn't mean anything by it.
I know she didn't.
But, like, she was actually praising the podcast, but obviously when you're drunk, it's hard to know what's appropriate. And also, how badly that joke would land.
Yeah.
My mum died, then my boyfriend asked me how. That's not funny.
Ha 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 ha. It is hilarious, but it's not funny.
It's not. It's not pub chat, really.
No, it's not. There's no punchline.
There's no punchline other than the fact that
your life is the punchline. That's the point. Yeah, time and a place, guys. Time and a place.
That's the moral of this one. Maybe we should call it time and a place.
Maybe.
When I went back to work at a cafe after mum died, and one of my regulars came up and went, "Which one?" I've already said
You've
this
already
one.
said this
Which
on the
one of
podcast.
you girls' mum? Which one of these girls' mums died here then?
Yeah.
And I was stood there and I was
I don't
like,
know.
me. I actually said me.
Did you?
I think I remember it. I was just like, me, and he was like, "Oh, sorry," and I was like, "What?
Which one of
In
you's
what
mums died here then?
world? In what world would you say that?
No.
Which one of these girls' mums died here then?"
That is
What a sentence.
absolutely insane.
What a sentence.
One time for me that I had to talk about it when I really didn't want to was the day I got my braces off.
Oh,
You know this one, don't you?
I hate this one. It makes me so upset.
Yeah, it makes me so upset because she was so little. But
You should have kept them braces on. Not because you've got wonky teeth.
what the fuck?
Just so you wouldn't have to go through the pain
Oh, yeah, no,
of the
true.
interaction. And you've got wonky teeth. Jokes.
So the thing
You
is,
don't. I was just joking.
I
was just joking.
know.
You've got gorgeous teeth. Give us a smile.
No.
Give us a smile.
I went to get my braces off, and obviously mum used to go with me everywhere, to the dentist and the doctors and whatnot, because that was just normal. And I was also literally 16, so she came with me to get my braces off. She had to pick me up from school and whatnot. And no, she didn't. That's the point. She was dead by then.
Oh my God.
She didn't take me to the dentist. That's the point.
Because she was dead.
Because she was dead. So he obviously was like, "Oh, your mum's not in this one."
Why would you say that?
Yeah, I don't know. But we became quite close, me and the orthodontist at the time. He was like, "She's not here." And I was like, "Yeah, she died about 2 weeks ago."
I can't
That's
imagine
a
how
lot.
bad that would feel, though, like, to say something like that innocently.
child.
To a child, and then them come at you with that.
I know. And I was like, obviously, like, I was not okay.
No.
2 weeks. It was like
2 weeks is
in.
insane.
And I was like, it just ripped me apart, obviously.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was just like, "All right, get in the chair." And it was like,
Open your mouth and you're just like,
just thinking about it the whole time. And I'm just like, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. I'm here on my own. Like,
that is such a weird thing to say. Because also,
horrible.
like, obviously it was an innocent thing. But thinking about it now, like, if the person isn't there that was there last month, they're probably really ill, busy. Like, what solution would it be?
dead.
Like, or dead. Like, oh yeah, she's just at Sainsbury's. Like, what a
Innit?
boring
Like,
thing to say.
I think it's just because I was a child, and like, as an adult, it's like, "Oh, you're at this appointment on your own." Like, it's not like, "Are you okay?" But it's just like a thing.
That's
It's just
weird
like,
for
"Oh,
to
why
happen.
are you a child here on your own?"
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Bad one.
Okay, we're going to answer some submissions.
Woo! Go on.
Okay. People avoiding you when they see you as they don't know what to say.
That is so mean.
It's so mean, but also, like, it's interesting because we've been speaking about how annoying it is when people do the opposite of that, when people come up to you, like, and say something when obviously their heart is in the right place, like, but the time and the place is completely wrong. How annoying that is. But this is like the complete opposite of, like, people
Yeah.
not doing anything and actually taking steps to consciously, like, avoid you is so different.
It's so different. But again, it does come from a place of love, because it is like they are avoiding you as to not upset you.
Interesting, but that could be one, but also a lot of people ignore it because it's awkward for them.
Yeah, that's true. And that's where it's just ridiculous and completely mean, because it's like you are avoiding it because it's awkward for you, it's inconvenient for you, and it's like, "Oh, I don't have time to deal with that right now."
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually want to know. I don't want to get into that right now. It goes back to, again, the idea of it's worse to say nothing than the wrong thing.
Yeah, and I think that's way more harmful, because then you have the whole other issues of, like, abandonment issues and, like, people giving up on you when times get tough.
Yeah.
And that's, like, a really, really hard thing to deal with, especially because we were quite young when it happened to us. So, like, our friend groups, when you're that young, feel like they're your friend groups forever. And it feels like they're your people because you've been to school with them and you've grown up with them. But the reality of it is, it's like, you'll grow so much, and, like, you'll meet new friends that serve different purposes as you need different purposes. Like, if they're close to you and they're doing that, that's not somebody that you want around. Like, friends are supposed to be there for you when times get tough, and, like, yes, at the start people might not know what to say, but there has to be a point, like, where they step in or they step out forever, because it's just like, you've got enough on your plate other than to be worrying, like, oh, why don't...
Am I inconvenient?
Yeah, am I inconvenient? You're not inconvenient. You haven't chosen this to happen to you. And if people can't support that, yes, it's hard, but if people can't even take the steps to try, they're not people that you need around.
That's that on that. So, moving out of home or struggling to be at the family home? I was not at an age where I could legally live anywhere else. So, I couldn't live on my own. So I had to live at home. And that was obviously very hard. I really struggled in that time, and I really, really empathise with anyone that's at a family home and they feel trapped and they don't know what to do because it's too overwhelming. But it's hard because half of your brain is very much like, I need to get out of here, and the other half of you is like, I can't leave this place because I will leave her behind forever. But I think if you do move, you will realise that you are not leaving anyone behind, and you take them with you. And if you stay in that house and it's detrimental to you, and you know that it's detrimental to you, then all you'll be taking with you is trauma. So you need to just distance. But also, like, if it's not as deep as that, like, situation, like I need to get out of here right now, that it was for me, it's like, you can try and, find ways to view the house differently. Like, maybe you don't want to leave and you want to be there, but it just feels hard. Maybe it's about rearranging the house, or like trying to see them in specific places that you want to see them, but also adapting the house so that you can exist in it. Is also okay. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're not here anymore, but they're not going anywhere from inside of you. And wherever you are, they will be with you. And it's okay for you to change things to let yourself be happier.
100%.
You're not letting anyone go.
No. For
those 2 years where I was at home, it was very much like every single day you wake up in the house and you realise that she's not here anymore, and that is just, it was not what I needed. But then I did also move away, and then I got to the point where I was also just like, it was hard because I couldn't suppress it, because I'd lived for 2 years so much that absence, but also like, it was now the time where it was like, I'm not suppressing it, but I'm just ignoring it now. And it's like, new city, new me, not taking this with me, leaving it behind, but obviously you take it with you. And it catches up with you at some point. And so for the past 5 years out of my 7, it's like, you've been living this life where you're like, let's completely leave that behind, and you've forgotten that it's even happened. So like, if you do move out, I don't know. I still don't know how I would have even done it differently, but it's like, it's more so about like trying to schedule time to remember them and to bring them into your new life in ways that the nice things that you want to bring with you can bring with you. And the trauma will still always, it's still in you.
You're just got to work through it.
Exactly. But really empathise with that one.
How to get out of a rut / depressive stage when you are grieving?
Oh,
that's an interesting one.
That is a good one. I wish I knew. Yeah, it is so hard. And I've been in many a depressive ruts in my life. And it has been like months and then stops, and then months and then stops. And sometimes it's like a few days, and then I'm like, okay, I feel all right. But for me, it's like, kind of just trying to remember times where you were happy. And like, the more depressive episodes I had, the more I kind of realised, this isn't going to last forever. This is temporary. I am going to smile again one day. And like, reminding yourself of that, and like putting yourselves in situations where the bare minimum is as easy as possible. Like, I really struggle when I'm sad to do the bare minimum, which a lot of people with depression don't struggle with, but a lot of people do. Obviously, it's things like not brushing your teeth, not showering, not eating, making, either seeking support or having, things lined up if you feel like you're going south, to make those daily tasks easier if that's something that you struggle with, because I know that I can feel when I'm getting worse.
What would you say is an example of like how you can help yourself when you know you're getting worse?
Lining up, like buying some food in, getting some food in, stocking up for the winter.
Well,
maybe planning things with friends.
Letting people know you.
Absolutely letting people know. My close people, letting them know that for example, like if I don't reply, it's okay, or like this is happening right now, just to make you aware.
Yeah.
It's also about like maybe asking your friends, like, is there any chance you could like come over and sit on the end of my bed for a bit? And like my friends always say, yeah, of course I'll come around and sit like monkeys. Like, that's what we say, is like, can you come around and be a monkey? And it's like, yeah, I will just sit with you. But I'm very, very lucky to have that. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just about I think letting people know is really important.
And then what about getting out of the rut?
I, to be honest, don't know. I still kind of just let myself, I surrender to the rut, I think is really important sometimes for me, is to surrender into the rut so that you can feel it, and you'll come out of it when you naturally come out of it. That's what I do.
But that's worrying, isn't it? Because sometimes it's like you don't know when it will come out. Like, you must do things like subconsciously, like to get yourself out of it. Like, I remember feeling sometimes just like, right, okay, this is ridiculous now.
I have felt like that like, so many times.
Yeah. And then you just have that, you find that strength. And I think when you find that, or when you have a moment where you're like, and also what I think is really important, what I've noticed is like, because the mood fluctuates so much, if you are lying in bed feeling like shit and then you have a thought like, oh, I'm hungry, listen to your body.
Go.
Or like, go. On that instinct, just go. Or like, oh, the sun looks nice outside. Go. Like quickly before it changes, and you'll feel so much better for it.
Yep.
But I would just say like, really think about what brought you joy before. And just telling yourself like positive things, like it really makes a difference. Like, you are going to be all right. Feel it. You're just having a bad mental health day. Like, that's what I tell myself. Like, you're allowed to just have those days where you feel bad. And you can just tell yourself like, it's going to be okay. Like, I've been here before. I'll be here again. And you've just got to ride the wave.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For me as well, I'm a very physical, sad person. So what helps me, which I am still yet to fully do, but my therapist told me this weeks ago, is having a box of things, something like this, stim toys, stress toys, things that taste sharp, like popping candy or lemons or sweets that you like, things that you like the smell of, things that you like to touch, like, do you like hard things, do you like soft things, do you like fuzzy things, everything in there. And then when you feel crazy and you feel like, because when I feel sad, it's like panic. It's like everything's crashing around me. I don't know what to do. I feel like the whole world is crumbled and like I don't know what to do with it. And it's like instant panic. So for me, going into that box and being like, okay, let's do this, or like go get a glass of water, change of scenery, to force yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Helps me a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's a real thing. Like, that's why showers work, or like I've heard biting into a lemon, like it kind of shocks your body back into like
putting your head in ice
feeling.
Water. It's really good.
Ice water, yeah.
Bucket of water. Get your head in there. Really, really cold. It feels like shit. It feels horrible. But if you keep your head under that water, don't drown. You keep your head under the water and you feel the cold, you'll feel your body going, okay, let's get out of this. I'm in, because it goes into survival mode.
Yeah.
And it's also survival mode for your brain when your body's in physical survival mode, I think. I don't know.
It's important to move your body as well. Movement. Even if it's literally, like I always say to Alicia, like, stand up, walk to the kitchen, pour yourself a glass of really cold water, and just that movement out of bed, moving into a different room, like it really helps to start
energy, it's like
One last one?
Sure, do you want to choose or?
You sure go.
I think a big one, this is a big one, and I think we have touched on it before, but I think it's something that is always relevant, is the grief you feel when, the guilt you feel when you lose someone. And I think it is very dependent on how you lose them, is the weight of what you feel, but just I think everyone goes through the, what if something was different, or what if I did something differently, or what if the day was different, or if I didn't go there, if I, like something. Mm-hmm. And like with sudden death, which is all that we've experienced, which is crazy. But with sudden death, it's very much like, where was I? What was I doing? Mm-hmm. What was so more important? What could I have done differently?
Yeah.
And I think it's just really important to just remind yourself that the answer is simply nothing.
Yeah. The only thing thinking like that does is makes you feel worse. There is nothing that you can do now to change what's happened. That you can do now, there's nothing. So there's no point in making yourself feel worse because you're already going to feel like shit. The cards that you've been dealt by the world have been really shit.
Yeah, it's
and for you to make yourself feel worse by making yourself feel guilty isn't going to help anything or anyone.
Yeah.
And it's going to make your grief journey longer. And obviously it's a very normal feeling and it's hard to not feel guilty, obviously. But I think that just comes with time.
Yeah.
I think another thing people feel guilty about a lot is, did they know how much I loved them? Why did I say that mean thing? Why did I cancel the plans with them that time? But the thing is, like, you're never gonna, you can't live your life like that. You're never gonna know. Like, you could say that about everything. Like, oh, what if I left the house 5 minutes later? Like, thinking like that is gonna just drive you crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not helpful. And like, you just have to find peace with, like, obviously easier said than done. Like, what's happened has happened. There's nothing you can do now. And you also will never have, like, it's never possible to say love you enough. It's never possible to have given them enough hugs. It's never possible to have seen them enough because, like, no hugs is ever going to be enough.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just the truth. And like,
so true.
They knew, like, they know, if they knew how much you loved them, and if they didn't know then they know now. Like, you've got to trust in that.
It's also really, really, really important to remember that guilt is a really, really normal feeling to feel after losing someone. But it's also, all that guilt is it's your love for them with nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. It's the same as anger. It's the same as all of these horrible, spiky emotions that you feel with grief. They are all love that you have. You want to just, in feeling like, what could I have done? That's you loving them.
Yeah.
That is you loving them.
Yeah.
And not knowing what to do with it because you know the situation that you're in now.
100%.
And it's just the context of your brain turning that love into, what could I have done? Mm-hmm. Why didn't I do this? And I don't know. I don't know why we are built like that, but it's part of the human condition and it's so normal and everyone goes through that. Mm-hmm. So to just remind yourself that it's simply not your fault and the answer is always nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you 100%. Could never have done anything.
Yeah. 100%.
Aww. Love you.
Love you. Love you.
That was sad. Love you. Mental health check.
Mental health vibe check.
How are you feeling? Do you want to stop? It is 10 o'clock. I think we should stop.
We'll do more submissions. I think it's really nice. I really love connecting with you guys. It's obviously hard to do so all the time. But I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
We're going to set up a submissions email. So then we can do longer kind of, because the submission box is so small and I'd like to get really into the nitty gritty of situations and maybe like agony aunt vibes.
Yeah.
We're not qualified by any means.
No.
We're just grief expert. We're not
experts.
We are
to
just.
To be fair, they do say if you do 1,000 hours of something, you're an expert. So we are absolutely way more expert. I'm an expert.
We're experts at grief. No. As always, our advice is just based on our experiences. That is all. I've not even had proper therapy yet.
Thing is, I don't know if anything that I say is healthy or not.
It is. It doesn't matter if it's healthy because it's real experiences. Like, it's just our view on things.
And
that's what they've asked for.
Relatability is what we need.
And to
not feel alone. So
exactly.
that's what this is.
The point of it, yeah. But yeah, love you guys.
Love you always.